Yo, what's going on, y'all? This is Andy Mac from the DJ Cafe, and today I'm going to be covering something that I get quite often. Now, what's the best setup to start off with? What's the best one? What should I buy? I'm a beginner. I only have $300 and I really want to get into DJing. What's the best mixer or controller or piece of kit that I can buy? And honestly, it's a really hard question to answer. So this is how we're going to play it. 19-year-old Andy Mac started off DJing. Only got an HP laptop and a house stereo system. No mixer, no controller. On virtual DJ, straight off of the laptop. Looking for something to get. I'm going to bring that 19-year-old Andy Mac and bring him to present day. With the same amount of gear that he had back in the day. And with the same budget, that $300 budget. What I would be looking for automatically as a young DJ, I would be automatically looking at MIDI controllers. Now, I came up in a time where the most professional MIDI controller at the time was a VCI 300 by Bestex. Now we are light years away from where we started off when it came to MIDI controllers. Now you have MIDI controllers that are professional grade and cost upwards of $2,000. So I would be jumping for a MIDI controller, and the reason why is I would want total control, not by Nieuwmarkt. I would want, complete control over what I'm doing on the screen. I would want to be able to touch the jog wheel and scratch. Now, if I was looking to get into turntables, it'd be a little more difficult because honestly, there's a lot of turntables that you guys probably don't know about, from back in the day or even, 5-10 years ago, that you just don't know about, that are solid turntables that you could buy, and that would be solid beginner turntables. The problem is now all you see is the newest stuff, the newest Pioneer turntable, the newest Stanton turntable, the newest Denon turntable, and all these are upwards of $599 and up. Obviously, that's not your budget, because when it comes to turntables, you need a pair, then you need a pair of styli needles. Then you need slip mats, records, a DVS. Do you have a mixer that has DVS built in, or do you have a mixer and a separate audio interface? So that's where the problem comes into play. Now there are cost-effective solutions to things like that, like the Kai AMX with the Innovator in it, but you're gonna have to spend the extra $100 if you want to unleash the DVS potential that it has for the full-on Serato DJ. But I mean, for the bang for the buck, it's solid. But we're talking about under $300. What would I go for? What particular controller would I be jumping on? And that would be the Pioneer DDJ SB2 now, I guess what it is. Honestly, anything from Pioneer, they're really popular right now. They're really doing a great job when it comes to DJ gear, and they're ruling a big part of the market. Now you also have, record box DJs, so you can either go with the record box version or Serato. It all really depends. Now, what's the future is kind of hard to tell. Is Serato gonna kind of fade and take, the second string place as record box DJ takes over? I don't see that happening anytime soon. Possibly in the future, way down the line, but not right now or not in the next 5 years. I don't see everybody who's on Serato converting over to record box DJ unless the experience on it is just amazing that it completely influences everybody else to switch. So anything with Serato would be fine, but that's what I would be looking for. It's not going to have balanced outputs. It's not going to be built the best, but for the touch sensitivity on the jog wheels compared to other turntables, not turntables, but controllers in its price range, is actually pretty damn good. And from a company that has, the resume that Pioneer does for putting out good products, you really can't go wrong. You can't go wrong either with like a Nieuwmarkt mix track or something like that. It's really all personal preference. But me personally, if I flashed back to the past where I was a 19-year-old trying to get my very first piece of kit, I would jump for the Pioneer DDJ SB. Now that's just my personal opinion. Now if you're dead set on getting turntables, it's going to be very hard to find a complete setup for less than $300. It's possible, but the turntables are going to be very, very mediocre. I mean, I've seen turntables go for, a pair of a certain pair of turntables for $100 that were direct drive. Now, if you are in that market, you really don't want controllers and you want some turntables for sure, and you don't want to spend a lot of money, I'm going to give you some turntables that you could probably find on your local Craigslist or on eBay for real cheap. Fair warning though, these turntables are probably not going to last you the next 10 years. They're probably going to be very, very made out of plastic. I didn't fart, that was my dog shaking his ears. And yeah, so let's go ahead and do a quick rundown. My very first pair of turntables that I got for like 120 bucks, 150 bucks for the pair were a pair of Nieuwmarkt TT 1625s. They came in the Nieuwmarkt battle pack. It also came with a mixer as well. I got the mixer, but I didn't get the power adapter. And back in the day, to track down one of those power adapters was a pain, man. So I just got a different mixer. So yeah, those are direct drive. Like I said though, they're all plastic. And they did okay. They did okay. Another pair of turntables that you could probably find cheaper now are the Nieuwmarkt TT 200s. These look a little bit better, and these actually have more torque on specs wise and regular techniques. Now hold your horses. You might be thinking, wow, they're like super OEM turntables, and in a sense back in the day maybe they kind of were, but the build quality is definitely built for the price range that they were retailing at. I think back in the day they were $200 brand new. So you could probably find a pair for $200 or a pair for even cheaper. I think they had like interchangeable tone arms, so you can get an S arm or a straight arm, whatever it may be. Now, if you can find these, and if you live in a town where Vestex is extremely underappreciated, then you can find a pair of these bad boys for real cheap. Now, I've gone through 2 pairs in my lifetime so far, not because they've broken down, only because I realized I wasn't using them as much as I should have been, and I'd rather have somebody really put them to fair use. So, out here in my town, I live in one of those towns where you put something on Craigslist for a fair price and it's gonna sit there. You gotta put things up for a steal. So my very first pair of legit turntables that I got for cheap, $250 with cases, with needles, with a mixer, were a pair of Vestex PDX 2000s. Now I know a lot of you guys are gonna be like, what? That's crazy. But in those towns where those guys have them, they're very unappreciated. I mean, the value there, a lot of other guys don't see the value. If you don't put anything other than techniques on Craigslist or on your local Facebook page or whatever for sale, if you live in one of those towns where there's not a lot of people who really know about gear, it's probably going to sit for quite a while. So if you can find a gem like that, like a gem of a pair of PDX 2000s, honestly, if you got some of those and they're in decent condition and everything was working fine, because they do have their minor gripes and they do have their design flaws, hold on to those bad boys. I'll hold on to those bad boys for quite a while, and honestly, I don't see why you would need to upgrade to Technique turntables or any other turntable. If you have those, the feeling on those is different from any other turntable I've ever felt. But honestly, I like the feeling, and they're a huge hit with all the turntablists. So if you can find a pair of those for a steal, I definitely recommend it. Another turntable that's probably unappreciated now, but you probably won't find a pair for less than $300 or $400, is a pair of Nieuwmarkt TTXs. The same motors that are on the TTX turntables are what powers the Ns7 turntables. So if you've ever been on one of those bad boys, I mean, you would know that they definitely have quite a bit of power and they can handle whatever you want to throw at them. So if you can find a pair of Nieuwmarkt TTXs, like I said, you're not going to find them for very, very cheap. Out here in my area, I could probably find a pair for like maybe like $500, $400, depending on condition. You could try your hand at eBay. Those are a slightly heavier turntable, but definitely that goes to their build quality, and they have certain design features that are pretty cool. Another pair of turntables that you could probably find for a steal is the Stanton Str 100s. Now these were the main bad boys from Stanton before the 150s came out. So if you could find a pair of straight 100s, go ahead and jump on those. Those have solid torque as well. They just weren't really a big hit when everything started going super duper OEM. That's what I call it now. So yeah, definitely try to find some of those. And if I think of any other ones, I'll go ahead and put them down in the description below. And if you guys know of any gear that's real cheap, especially in your town or whatever, certain products that you've always seen go for the low, definitely leave them down in the comments. So I hope you guys enjoyed this quick little random video, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.